Hey guys, it's Doing W and it's after work, so that means we can start cooking. Haha. So this is gonna be cooking with Sterling, so this is gonna be interesting. First time doing this, and of course it's after work. I put on my apron and I still have my work clothes on, but it should be pretty cool. Today we have a pretty awesome thing. I got myself some Wagyu steak. Now this is actually American Wagyu, which is pretty interesting. Got this at Costco and it was about $9.99 a pound, which is about 10 bucks a pound. But look at that marbling. So what we're gonna do is go prep it today. And usually I get ribeye and stuff, but this is pretty good. But recently I've been just buying chuck steak and making awesome steaks with chuck steak. So I'll show you how later. But this is a video just to pack this. I wanna make sure it's good. So you're gonna explore this with me. Okay guys, so this is basically 4 pounds of American Wagyu Chuck steak. Chuck steak meaning it's on the shoulder of the cow that we're eating. So this is pretty cool. The fact that it's chuck steak, you have muscles going in different directions. So what I usually do is either I cook the whole thing as it is, do a sous vide, and cook this thing slowly and basically grill it. Or I basically take it apart into the sections of which way the steak is going. And this is almost a 3-inch thick piece of meat here. So it will make for an awesome steak, super juicy because of all the marbling and fat that's included into this thing. I usually check and try to find which direction these things are going, the muscles. So if it's too strange of a direction, I usually take them out. In other words, I make the steak into something that's one direction of the meat. So that way it cooks easier, and especially if you're grilling, and if you're cutting it, you cut it against the grain, which makes it a lot more tender. So I'm gonna go ahead and split this into probably 3 steaks because it's so huge. This is, like I said, 4 pounds. Each of the steaks are gonna be about a pound or a little bit more than a pound. So it'll be perfect for 2 people to eat after I grill it, and I can always split it in half. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Now what I'm doing is I'm just basically cutting the fat out, and the fat I'm gonna go ahead and save because I'm gonna use that for stews and for flavor for like base and stuff for soup. So this piece is actually pretty much done. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up a little bit more, but yeah, that's one big steak. That's easily a pound, and it's about 2.5 inches tall and pretty long. It's probably around 7 inches long. Now this is nice too. Now I can see that there's a different direction of muscle here, and this muscle has a little less fat, so I'm just going to trim it off. And this part, I'm not a butcher, but at the same time, I know this is a little bit different muscle. There's almost very little fat there, so I'm going to probably take that off. Now, making it into a chuck steak is awesome too because the different directions, different textures is actually really good. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and cut along the fat, so I can split it, and I'm going to take out some of the sinews as well, because then make for eating it easier. And usually you cook it with the fat so that you could grill the sides or basically keep the moisture in. So I like searing it on the pan for each of the sides, and then basically cooking it for a few minutes a piece. So this is another piece that has really good marbling, but it's on the inside, but it's a different direction. So this one too, I'm gonna go ahead and use that as a steak. So like I said, we're gonna make about 3 steaks here out of that, the 2 major ones. So these 2 are done. There's a 3rd one there. These are the small pieces that are going in different directions, and I'm gonna use this to do a taste test for my noodles right now. So I'm gonna cut really thin slice. Now this is just came out of the refrigerator. It's not frozen, so you have to use a super sharp blade in order to cut it, this thin. So it's roughly around 1/8 of an inch or a little less. I'm trying to cut it even thinner. I like to use a utility knife, a 5-inch utility knife, because it's extremely sharp. I basically sharpen this thing up, and I don't like using a thicker knife. A bigger, larger knife, you could do it, but I found this utility knife is actually pretty cool in terms of a 5-inch regular kitchen knife. Anyways, as you can see, there's good striations there. There's good fat content. And it just looks good. This is one of the not so good pieces. So if I use a bigger blade, it's kind of hard to control in terms of that. So this is also very sharp too. So it does cut it, but I prefer like a thinner blade so the meat doesn't stick to the blade. So I'm gonna finish cutting this one, and then I'm gonna take the other piece, that's much bigger and has even more beautiful patterns on it. But this is of course not as good as a pattern as the steak that we just, we put in the thing, into the bags. Now this one's kind of nice too. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the excess fat on the front, but I'm just gonna cut a bit against this is all against the grain. Always cut against the grain so there's not that much, so it's much more tender. By against the grain, I mean perpendicular to the pattern and the grain pattern, so perpendicular to the lines. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it across. As you can see, beautiful, beautiful marbling. You know what? Let's take one of these pieces out and show you. So beautiful marbling throughout. So when you cook this, it's gonna be nice and soft. Even heck, not even cooked. I'm just gonna wave this around in soup, and then it's gonna be cooked, and it'll be kind of like medium rare prime rib. So I actually like doing it that way because I don't like eating a lot of meat at once because it's heavy. In fact, I actually don't like eating Japanese Wagyu is nice. I've tried it, but it's so buttery, it's velvety soft, but it's also a lot of fat. So I prefer something like this that has fat as well as meat so that it cooks really tender and soft. Usually, like I said, I usually get ribeye or steaks that have a lot of fat kind of like this that's marbled in so that it cooks a lot. The fat goes in the meat as it cooks and doesn't get dried out or anything else like that. But either way, you still sear it and you still cook it very similar way. But this is nice because you can actually cut it really thin and have it for shabu shabu or something else like that. Typically in shabu shabu, they have pieces that have a lot of fat. I really don't care for that because it makes the soup of shabu shabu just convoluted with a lot of fat and oil. But yeah, this is perfect. Just enough fat, just enough meat, mixed right in, marbling. It'll cook very well in shabu shabu or inside a bowl of noodles, or heck, just, very fast, light grill, and it's gonna be great. You don't want to overcook the stuff, but either way, I don't think this is gonna be very, very, it's not your typical chuck steak. This is Wagyu chuck, which is, a lot more beautiful marbling. Like I said, normally if I get chuck, I try to get as much marbling as I can, especially the non-Wagyu one, but this Wagyu one is so good. Now, I put it in Ziploc bags, I pushed out most of the air so that it doesn't oxidize as much, and I'm going to go ahead and put these freezer bags and meat inside the freezer so I could eat it, it's probably the next couple of weeks because I usually don't eat that much red meat at once unless it's like for a special occasion or something else like that. So here it is. This is about roughly, I think, half a pound, and I just have my soup right here, and all you do is just put hot soup on top of it and it's pretty much cooked. And yeah, that looks really good, really soft, super tender. So yeah, basically this is very, very good beef. I mean, like USDA Prime. This is really, really nice. And if you take a look at it, but all you need to do is just heat it up just enough because the fat and stuff makes it really tender. The striation of fat, and these are not even the best cuts. Yeah, this isn't even the best parts. I save the best parts for steaks. This, with all the striated fat, this chuck steak has a lot of flavor. Super, super tender. The best thing for chuck is to cut yours super thin. It is so tender. You don't want to overcook it. You just want it nice and cooked. So that's like prime rib rare. Good stuff. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful, and of course, please follow and leave some comments below if you tried the Wagyu steak at Costco. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.